Hello, boys and girls. It's Spencer Calry again, and welcome back to Storytime with Spencer. And today I'm reading Dirty Objects and Mrs. Kyndley's Christmas. Dirty Objects. Toby and Henrietta take the workmen to the quarry every morning. At the junction, they often meet James. Toby and Henrietta were shabby when they first came and needed new paint. James was very rude. "Ugh, what dirty objects," he would say. At last, Toby lost patience. "James," he asked, "why are you red?" "I am a splendid engine," answered James loftily, "ready for anything. You never see my paint dirty." "Oh," said Toby innocently, "that's why you once needed bootlaces, to be ready, I suppose." James went redder than ever and snorted off. At the end of the line, James left his coaches and got ready for his next train. It was a slow goods, stopping at every station to pick up and set down trucks. James hated slow goods trains. "Dirty trucks from dirty sidings. Ugh," he grumbled. Starting with only a few, he picked up more and more trucks at each station till he had a long train. At first, the trucks behaved well, but James bumped them so crossly that they determined to pay him out. Presently, rumbling over the viaduct, they approached the top of Gorton's Hill. Heavy goods trains halted to pin down their brakes. James had had an accident with trucks before, and should have remembered this. "Wait, James, wait," said his driver. But James wouldn't wait. He was too busy thinking what he would say to Toby when they next met. Too late, he saw where he was and tried to stop. "Hurrah! Hurrah!" laughed the trucks, and banging their buffers, they pushed him down the hill. The guard tightened his brakes until they screamed. "On! On! On!" yelled the trucks. "I've got to stop! I've got to stop!" groaned James, and setting his brakes, he managed to check the truck's mad rush. But they were still going much too fast to stop in time. Through the station they thundered and lurched into the yard. James shut his eyes. There was a bursting crash, and something sticky splashed all over him. He had run into two tar wagons and was black from smoke box to cab. James was more dirty than hurt, but the tar wagons and some of the trucks were all to pieces. The breakdown train was in the yard, and they soon tidied up the mess. Toby and Percy were sent to help and came as quickly as they could. "Look here, Percy," exclaimed Toby. "Whatever is that dirty object?" "That's James, didn't you know?" "It's James's shape," said Toby thoughtfully. "But James is a splendid red engine, and you never see his paint dirty." James shut his eyes and pretended he hadn't heard. They cleared away the unheard trucks and helped James home. The fat controller met them. "Well done, Percy and Toby," he said. He turned to James. "Fancy letting your trucks run away? I am surprised. You're not fit to be seen. You must be cleaned at once. Toby shall have a coat of paint. Chocolate and blue, I think." "Please, sir, can Henrietta have one too?" "Certainly, Toby," he smiled. "She shall have brown, like Annie and Clarabelle." "Oh, thank you, sir. She will be pleased." Toby ran home happily to tell her the news. Mrs. Kyndley's Christmas. It was nearly Christmas. Annie and Clarabelle were packed full of people and parcels. Thomas was having very hard work. Come on, he puffed. We're feeling so full, grumbled the coaches. Thomas looked at the hill ahead. Can I do it? Can I do it? He puffed anxiously. Suddenly, he saw a handkerchief waving from a cottage window. He felt better at once. Yes, I can, he puffed bravely. He pulled his hardest and was soon through the tunnel and resting in the station. That was Mrs. Kyndley who waved to you, Thomas, his driver told him. She has to stay in bed all day. Poor lady, said Thomas. I am sorry for her. Engines have heavy loads at Christmas time, but Thomas and Toby didn't mind the hard work when they saw Mrs. Kyndley waving. But then it began to rain. It rained for days and days. Thomas didn't like it, nor did his driver. Off we go, Thomas, he would say. Pull hard and get home quickly. Mrs. Kyndley won't wave today. But whether she waved or not, they always whistled when they passed the lonely little cottage. Its white walls stood out against the dark backgrounds of the hills. Hello, exclaimed Thomas's fireman one day. Look at that. The driver ran across the cab. Something's wrong there, he said. Hanging, flapping and bedraggled from a window from the cottage was something that looked like a large red flag. Mrs. Kyndley needs help, I expect, said the driver, and put on the brakes. Thomas gently stopped. The guard came squelching through the rain up to Thomas's cab, and the driver pointed to the flag. See if the doctor's on the train and ask him to go to the cottage, then walk back to the station to tell them we've stopped. The fireman went to see if the line was clear in front. 2 passengers left the train and climbed to the cottage. Then the fireman returned. We'll back down to the station, said the driver, so that Thomas can get a good start. We shan't get up the hill, the fireman answered. Come and see what's happened. They walked along the line round the bend. Jiminy Christmas! exclaimed the driver. Go back to the train. I'm going to the cottage. He found the doctor with Mrs. Kyndley. Silly of me to faint, she said. You saw the red dressing gown? You're all safe? asked Mrs. Kyndley. Yes, smiled the driver. I've come to thank you. There was a landslide in the cutting, Doctor, and Mrs. Kyndley saw it from her window and stopped us. She saved our lives. God bless you, ma'am, said the driver, and tiptoed from the room. They cleared the line by Christmas Day, and the sun shone as the special train puffed up from the junction. First came Toby, then Thomas with Annie and Clarabelle, and last of all, but very pleased at being allowed to come, was Henrietta. The fat controller was there, and lots of other people who wanted to say thank you to Mrs. Kyndley. Beep, 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 beep. Happy Christmas, whistled the engines as they reached the place. The people got out and climbed to the cottage. Thomas and Toby wished they could go too. Mrs. Kyndley's husband met them at the door. The fat controller, Thomas's driver, fireman, and guard went upstairs, while the others stood in the sunshine below the window. The driver gave her a new dressing gown to replace the one spoiled by the rain. The guard gave her some grapes, and the fireman gave her some woolly slippers and promised to bring some coal as a present from Thomas next time they passed. Mrs. Kyndley was very pleased with her presents. "You are very good to me," she said. "The passengers and I," said the fat controller, "hope you will accept these tickets for the South Coast, Mrs. Kyndley, to get really well in the sunshine. We cannot thank you enough for preventing that accident. I hope we have not tired you. Goodbye, and a happy Christmas." Then going quietly downstairs, they joined the group outside the window and sang some carols before returning to the train. Mrs. Kyndley is now at Bournemouth, getting better every day, and Thomas and Toby are looking forward to the time when they can welcome her home. The end. See you next time as I read another story of Thomas and his friends. Bye for now. Not affiliated with Thomas and Friends or any book publishers, but we are simply fans and love Thomas the Tank Engine and his friends.